What's your I was the only one to get away story? Was at a fish show. We had been following the tour for a while. Undercovers caught my dude rolling a blunt in the car. Then the other dude with us was coming by and throwing as many GTFO son. Looks I can, but they popped him for having pills when he came by. So everyone I was with, including the dude who owns the car, got arrested. Thousands of miles from home. As the smartest in the group is getting cuffed, he asks the cops to give me his keys and their tickets. So I had a pocket of concert tickets, a car that isn't mine, and like $100. Took the car, bought a couple hundred bottles of water and a few 30 packs, and went back to the concert. Sold all the water for $1 each, most of the beers, except like 15 or so I drank for $3 each, and scalped every ticket for like $120 each. Showed up at the jail with a random girl from the concert, shithouse drunk, and bailed my friends out in all ones. Then bought them a hotel room. Can't leave my people behind, man. I went to a private high school and was part of a group of about 20 people who knew about a tent hidden in the woods behind our school. People would go there and have sex after school, smoke pot and do hood rat shit. Someone got in trouble and ratted out all of us as an attempt to lessen her punishment. Apparently she was going to be expelled, and on the last day before finals we all got called down to the detention room and the dean told us that they had found drug paraphernalia and weapons, airsoft pistol, and made us all write down everything we know about the tent and who have seen at the tent. 19 people ratted out everyone in that room, including themselves, and were given pretty harsh punishments. 3 were expelled, some were suspended into the next year, and the rest got demerits. I wrote down I have no idea what you're talking about. Went and talked to the deans and said the same thing and was off the hook. I'm certain my name was on every list and I'm sure they wanted to nail me, but I denied, and I guess they were satisfied with 19 people giving themselves up. Hotboxing a truck with some friends of a friend senior year in an empty parking lot of some parked already high as freak, when suddenly the Taco Bell we had gorged on earlier is going apeshit in my bowels, and holy crap, I need a bathroom. I ran/stumbled my way to the public restroom on the other side of the parking lot. I finish, and as I'm about to walk out I see what looks like red lights illuminating the entrance. I start losing my crap. I know it's cops and everyone's high as freak. At this point I knew A, my friends are fucked. B, what the freak should I do? I retreated in the farthest stall and texted my parents saying I was crashing at some dude's house. Ended up falling asleep in the stall. Woke up the next morning and got another friend to pick me up. Got away, no one ratted me out, and that's how Taco Bell simultaneously destroyed and saved my ass at the same time. My first house party in college was on Halloween my freshman year. Naturally everyone was in costume, and about half the people there were underage. I wasn't drinking, but my friends were. Around midnight an older guy, 40s, walked in dressed as a cop. Me, being the one of the few sobers at the party, realized he was an actual cop. I tried to convince my friends to leave, but they all said the guy was just in a costume, so I left on my own. I walked right past the cop, told him to have a good night, and walked home. I found out the next day all of my friends got tickets for underage drinking. I wasn't the only one to get away, but I was in the fewer than 10% that got away. Used to street racing, and right after high school, one night we were at one of the quieter locations, and we got an alert that cops were heading in from one direction. We all book it to our cars and start heading out the way that wasn't being closed in on. Suddenly cars are e-braking and flipping 180 degrees in the middle of the road in front of us, and we see a wall of cops advancing. Freakers closed us in. They herded us into a big parking lot, and I'll never forget watching like 30 Honda Civics drive around in panicked circles like frightened wild animals. At the time I was 17 and only had my permit, and I had sneaked out, so getting caught was not an option. I saw a couple of the less lowered cars hop a curb in the back of the parking lot and book it across a dirt field, so I joined them. I had just enough clearance to make the curb, so there were maybe 6 other cars and myself doing 60 miles an hour across this empty dirt field. Came out in a residential neighborhood I had never seen before, and it took me 30 minutes to get out, but I didn't get caught. One of my buddies did, and he got his car impounded, an $800 fine, and his parents were pissed. No regrets. I was gambling in Vegas on a Friday with friends' bachelor party coming up the next day. Playing blackjack, mostly just killing time waiting for dinner, but the table was on fire. It was a full table shortly after I sat down. I played for a couple hours and the table was all up on money, anywhere from $50,000 to $800. The $800 was me. Everyone else was literally up at least 10 grand. It's about 20 minutes before I'm supposed to meet up with someone, so I call it and head back to my room so I can shower and change for the night, head out for dinner and have a good night. The next morning, my buddies call me down to the lobby to meet up. As I get down there, out of sheer coincidence they are talking to the dealer that was at the table when I left. She says there he is and points at me. Friends are like no crap. Turns out, I was the only one that walked away from that table with $1 to my name. I'm the only one left from my group of 3 best friends since 3rd grade. First one hung himself because he was a pain pill addict, and I think the pressure of addiction and owing a lot of people money got to him. Ate a crap ton of Klonopins and hung himself on his mom's porch with a dog leash. My wife was dating him when I met her, and I always joke about it when people ask how we met. I say she was dating my friend and I stole her, and when they ask if we are still friends, I get quiet and say he killed himself. Second one was a heroin addict. Wrecked his car bad when he nodded off and he lived. After getting home from the hospital, he shot up again and nodded off while eating cereal and choked. His mom found him blue in the face. He lived, but is a completely different person who will never be independent again. The third one just died recently. He was the most badass person ever. Had so much fun in a life he loved. He was that dude on your social media you lived vicariously through. Badass chicks every month. Awesome road trips to Mexico one week and Alaska the next. He loved living the biker life. I couldn't even cry when he died because he died doing what he loved. He had literally said to me that he would rather die on his bike than doing anything else. Anyway, this will probably be buried, but it felt good to write. I've been off drugs, except booze, for a while now, and my wife and I are really happy. Glad I made it out of that town alive. Definitely miss my brothers though. We had some great freaking times. Quite possibly the dumbest story about getting caught by the police I've ever been a part of. Luckily, I was the only one to get away. This was years ago. At the time I was friends with, well, let's call him Mike. One day I bought a brand new digital camera and was excited to use it. I met up with Mike at his house, and another friend, let's call him Chris, was there, as well as Mike's current girlfriend Kelly. Now, Mike hated his ex-girlfriend, and after a little, while doing not much at Mike's house, he pitches the idea of going to his ex-girlfriend's house and egging it. Should have been a massive red flag for his current girlfriend. Huh. Anyways. So we load up into Chris' car and we drive to a local convenience store where Mike purchases 10 dozen eggs on his credit card. We get back into the car and drive off into the next town to find Mike's ex's house. The whole time I'm just playing with my camera and taking pictures, which ends up being both a good and a bad thing, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, we drive by her house a couple times with Chris, Mike, and Kelly all throwing eggs while I just took pictures. After hitting the house a couple times, we still had a ton of eggs left, so we basically just drove around throwing eggs at random houses and random cars. Not me though, I was just having fun playing with my new toy camera. So, a little while later we notice there is a car right on our ass. Chris starts driving faster, the car speeds up as well. Mike suggests going up on back roads to get away from the car, so we do. The car follows, still right on our ass. At this point Kelly is freaking out and crying. Mike decides that we should probably call the police to help us with this nutbag chasing us around town. Yeah, dumb idea. The police, who had already been contacted by the car behind us, inform us that the best way to scare the car off would be to just drive to the police station. So we do. Yeah. Obviously this person ends up being someone we egged. We show up, and the cops all run out and start accusing us of egging, and the people in the other car are accusing us of egging. There is egg all over Chris' car from accidental splashback and such, so the only thing Chris or Mike thinks of to say is no, we got egged. Look at our car. At this point, another cop pulls up in his cruiser and he just shouts at us, which one of you is Mike such and such? And Mike is like, I am. And the cop then says, oh, so you're the dumbass who bought 10 dozen eggs on your credit card before you went out egging? Huh, damn. No way out to this one. One of the cops sees my digital camera. He asks to look at the pictures, and me being young and dumb, and not knowing if I had to give it to him or not, gets all freaked out and just hands him photographic evidence of our entire night out egging. Mike gets arrested. They, for some reason, check Chris' trunk, and they find a bunch of booze. At the time, Chris was underage. This was probably about 8-9 years ago. I was probably 20 at the time. Chris gets arrested. He's crying. The cops see pictures of Kelly egging. She gets arrested. I tell them that I was just taking pictures the whole time. They look through my camera and see picture after picture, and believe me, I'm the only one not to get arrested from the dumbest event in human history. We egged tons of houses. I photographed the event as evidence for the cops, and then we literally drove ourselves to the police station, where we were all arrested. I was insanely scared and convinced I was going to get arrested as well. Nope. Stopped hanging out with Mike and Chris after that. No thank you. I don't need to egg anyone's house. I don't need to get arrested doing dumb crap like that. I'm a little late to the party, so this is going to get buried, but oh well. About a mile from the house where I grew up was a hill that looked down on a road. My friends and I used to throw water balloons down at cars from the hill when I was 16. It was a long way down, and hitting a car going through the road was pretty hard. One day we thought we were geniuses to put ketchup in the balloons. 5 of us took our ketchup filled balloons to the hill at dusk. It was quiet and no cars were passing, so we just waited. Finally here came a car going very slowly. I raised up my balloon and threw it, aiming just in front of the car. Whammo. Perfect throw and hit the car right on the hood. The 5 of us freak out in celebration, like we had just won the Super Bowl. Then we heard it. Whop whop. The blue and red lights flip on from the car, and a spotlight hits right on us. It was a freaking cop car. Over their PA system they announced, stay where you are, we are coming up. 2 cops got out of the car and started climbing the hill. I looked at my friend like, WTF do we do now? One of my friends said bail. Another one replied, yeah, bail. We turned and ran, trying to make a run for my house about a mile away. By this time it was dark, and we figured we would easily make it. We sprinted down a couple of streets and figured we were safe. Out of nowhere, behind us another cop car flipped on its lights and sirens. We started running straight ahead down the road as the car gained on us from behind. One of my friends tripped on the curb and fell. I looked back just to see a cop tackling him as he tried to get up. Then there were 4 of us. We turned onto another street when a cop car appeared in front of us. We turned back to see the previous car blocking behind us. My fat friend said he couldn't do it anymore and that he was giving up. He sat on the curb awaiting his fate. And then there were 3 of us. I turned to side of the street and jumped a fence into someone's backyard. My 2 remaining friends followed. After 3 or 4 fences, I figured we had lost them. I looked over the fence and saw 3 cops jumping the fences about 30 seconds behind us. They saw me looking at them and started screaming, police. Stop right there. About a half mile from my home. I knew the punishment would be the same if I stopped now or got caught later. So I figured I would keep running for it. We jumped 2 more fences and I saw a BBQ taking place in the backyard of the next house. I jumped the fence and kept running onto the next one. One of my other friends was right behind me and he kept running to the next one with me. We heard a guy at the BBQ scream, hey you, stop. If I'm not stopping for the cops, I'm not stopping for you, buddy. My 3rd friend jumped the fence into the BBQ and the guy started chasing him. My friend jumped up the fence and the guy grabbed my friend and tackled him to the ground. Scared shitless and with the cops on our tail, we continued on. And then there were 2 of us. Finally I made it to my backyard and we ran in through the garage door. We turned off all the lights and peeked out the windows waiting to see if the cops had seen us. My little sister was home and was wondering what was going on. We just told her to shut up and stay down. The cops jumped into my backyard and continued on jumping fences into the neighbors. After about 30 minutes my friend said he had to get home. I told him it would be better to stay for the night with the cops out in force. He declined and went out. I found out the next day that he got caught just down the street from my house when he left, and I was the only one to get away. Like and subscribe for more Reddit videos.